I'm Tim Blum, co-founder Blum & Poe Gallery, mostly based in Los Angeles, although we have other galleries in Tokyo and New York. I lived there for 5 years, and I've been going back and forth there since 1984. And I'm an expert in post-war Japanese work, and have been working pretty non-stop with Japanese artists and artwork since around 1985, in fact. So it sort of made sense at some point to open a space in Tokyo. We'd had an office there for many, many years. Reticent, there's not a lot of them. There are more these days than there have been in the past. These days it's more sophisticated collecting and buying. It's not how people used to equate Japan with the speculative boom of the 80s, but much more mannered and personal. There's also a generation getting a lot of influence in watching Yusaku Maezawa's buying activity. So yeah, it's interesting. It's much more awareness, like everywhere. It's a globally aware community of collectors. We've done different regulations, both written and otherwise, but it's a free market, and I still subscribe to the gentleman or gentlewoman's agreement, which just simply means be transparent, open, communicative. It's not very complicated. Well, I mean, again, it depends. I mean, on every level. I mean, we're supporting them by buying tables at their galas. We're helping support exhibitions, both group and solo, by writing checks, by helping with shipping, by, giving it however we can help, we try to help. Well, mostly because I think they don't understand vertically integrated culture. They only understand culture in a horizontal way. I don't know if people can generally often have difficulty relating things like moving between, say, rigorous conceptual practices, a Bruce Nauman show, Kanye's new record, which is another problem, by the way, because last time I spoke to you was a year ago. A lot's changed, clearly. All these different cultural channels, a lot of art world people are very conservative and keep it on only one track. So I think that there's a generation of people that are trying to collapse those tracks, meaning everything's at the highest level, but more things are brought in from other places. I mean, it's equating great design and great architecture and great furniture with great music and great art, and how that all kind of can flow together, But some people, they are very traditional and very conservative, of course. I think it's great. I have people who have worked for institutions working for me at the highest level. There's no conflict anymore. The museums have allowed themselves to be subsumed by the greater culture, which includes this flow of capital. So when museums are reaching out monthly, weekly, daily to me and other dealers looking for funding for exhibitions that they're organizing at their institutions, it means that the lines have all been collapsed, for sure. So we do academic, scholarly shows with important publications that are reprinting historical texts and or digging up archival material that's never been seen. We can work more efficiently, more speedily, with less bureaucracy. That's not to say that museums are not important, because they are, but we all work together. And I think if everybody's just open about that and not trying to be something they're not, then everything works fine. We currently have Mika Yoshitake as a full-time staff member, who was recently the senior curator at the Hirshhorn Museum, who did the Kusama Infinity Box Show, which is traveling around America. So she's doing a lot of projects for the gallery, and she's already worked for me for many years in doing the Monoha show back in 2012. She did Murakami. show with Paul Schimmel, which traveled around the world, and Liu Fan at the Guggenheim. So she's kind of gone in to the institutional sector and then back out to the commercial sector. It works if it's managed well, for sure, and everybody wins. Fundamentally, having great artists showing great work, selling it to great collectors and institutions when you can, and when things do come up on resale, you want to make sure that you can try to protect it as much as possible. Sometimes you can't, and sometimes there's corrections. But if the art is great, it will always recorrect. You don't have to try to be God and control the whole. You can't. Super into collaboration. It's actually my key word for now. Collaboration. I mean, the world needs more collaboration, right? More communication, more community. Not global islands that are the same interconnected system, but rather true global community, Everybody's got different relationships and different personalities, and they bring that to an artist and whatever the work may be. Generally speaking, when you're selling the work, you have an understanding that if they wish to resell it at some point, they'll certainly offer it to you first. That usually happens. But things end up going to auction too, of course, which can be good and can be bad, and it's just a fact of life. I mean, auction houses definitely validate markets because it's public sales, which provides a record of a financial figure that people ascribe to an artist. You have to learn how to navigate that as well. The auction houses aren't interested in managing an artist's career. They're just looking at it as again, just the flow of capital. So outside of it, in managing artists, yes, it's can be frustrating, but you have to learn how to, again, navigate all the parts to that. We're redoing our website. We have Instagram. We have a Twitter handle. We're very active on that. We have lots of projects going on all over the world. I think that, in fact, this expansionary notion is already being rethought right now and recalibrated. So you're going to see, and you are seeing, different kind of methodologies for how to navigate this new art world, which doesn't necessarily mean opening big box in different cities at all. So yes, we have a lot of plans coming in the next year which will be revealed, which will show different ways of working in the art world outside of the normal gallery circuit and art fair circuit in different cities around the world. So for sure, but you have to be inventive and you have to understand what people want, which I think is more an authentic experience, and in fact not a digital experience. So in fact they want a personal, authentic experience with people and with great art. No VR for me right now. I was always a big VR person like 25 years ago, back with the dawn of Wired magazine and Mondo 2000. Most of these people that are talking about VR don't even know what the hell that means. But I was involved with the MIT Media Lab in 1992. So, this is an old construct and an old idea, but there are artists that are dealing with technology in interesting ways. I haven't seen anything with VR yet. I'm not interested. I don't know anybody who is personally. I'm way more interested in things like that are where you're in the real world experiencing something transcendent or something that transports you in a real way, even though this is all a dream, right? So I don't really want to go to a double dream. We do a lot of art fairs. We're stopping some. We're not doing as many. I don't remember how many we do. Basel, Freeze, Fog, FIAC. I'm forgetting something. But I think 6, 7 is max. We're not going to do 15 or 20 fairs. I find the whole thing abhorrent. It's actually repulsive. And it's bullshit, too. So anybody who tells you that they're making a lot of money traveling around doing these fairs is lying to your face. Or they're showing just dog shit they found in the back of the storage facility, wherever they come from. Sorry. There's not that much good art. There is not that much good art. that could fill all the gallery shows, museum shows, and art fairs. It's impossible. So if you go to the art fairs, you see the patterns that emerge. Well, I think it's changing right now quite rapidly because people are recalibrating. The buyers are burnt out, the artists are sick of it, everybody's, things do have lifespans. It's not like something lasts forever. It's like a city or like a fucking art fair. I mean, it's hard to sustain people's interest for that long unless you reinvent it or do it differently. So that's the point, is that there's just simply not that much great art that can circulate through all these different mediums, whether it's, again, the gallery shows, the museum shows, the art fairs. Oh, sometimes you do. It depends. I mean, that's why you have to be very specific and pick very carefully which fairs you're doing and how you're doing them, what you're presenting. So it isn't diluted. But a lot of it is, in the end, a kind of, it's a hamster wheel effect where people are just afraid to step off occasionally. It runs, it's a system, but I don't think that when people are really quite honest about it, that there's a lot. It's just feeding this animal. Well, I mean, the committee's great. It's filled with great people, so I love that. You also learn pretty much everything you wanted to know about the art world in 3 days. Because you have, 8 people who are in the art world globally, like it's a download. And that's fascinating. And we take it very seriously. So we're looking at everything. It's like, it's not default. It's very concerted effort. I appreciate that. And I look out for people, for younger dealers and people who haven't been in or should be in and want to get in. You make a good argument. I like that. Have great art. It's always going to come back to that. Have a great program. Have a good reputation. Have integrity. Pay your bills. Pay your artists.